thing that we're not getting any confirmation on. It's quite possible that there are air raid sirens going off in Pakistani cities even as we speak. We don't know what the response from India has been. We can tell you what we are experiencing because it is happening where our reporters are. And I want to go back to Akash. I want to go back to Ishan. Akash, there are also statements now coming out of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said there's a need for immediate de-escalation. He spoke in fact to EAM, Dr. Jaishankar, and there's a statement that has been put out by his office. But Siddharth, quickly update us on this Mark Rubio EAM communication that has taken place.
Well, yes, that's right, Rahul. In fact, this conversation has taken place just a short while back. In fact, this is what we have been told, and this release has come from State Department. And this release states that the Secretary of State emphasized the need for immediate de-escalation between India and Pakistan. In fact, Marco Rubio also expressed US support for direct dialogue between India and Pakistan and encouraged continued efforts to improve communication. Marco Rubio also reiterated his condolences for the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam and reaffirmed the United States commitment to work with India. Perhaps this is the second phone call between Marco Rubio and EAM Jaishankar.
But clearly this escalation, this unlawful escalation from Pakistan is beginning to grab headlines world over. And remember, viewers, tomorrow the IMF is supposed to meet to decide on a new loan for Pakistan. I just hope that the Americans, instead of giving us a lecture about de-escalation and all that, get the IMF to stand down. We have, of course, an assistant director there who will also perhaps put that Indian point of view across. But we're also being called that the Raksha Mantri is meeting the service chiefs and the CDS. Akash Sharma has this news. Let me try and weave him into this. Akash, if you're there with us, RM meeting the service chiefs and the CDS. Sources are reporting this to you. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Right, so this is not an ordinary time, we are at the verge of a war because Pakistan is clearly, trying to escalate the situation, given the fact that we have seen that today in the morning, they tried, some locations, and now once again, these locations, in fact, military installations, and in fact, the civilian areas are being targeted. So definitely these service chiefs and in fact CDS, are meeting Rajnath Singh, Raksha Mantri, to decide on the strategy that they are going to opt now. In fact, sources are telling us that Raksha Mantri is in fact, meeting these service chiefs. CDS is also present, possibly to decide as to what is going to be next course of action. Rahul, we have seen that how Pahalgam was avenged, and it was categorically mentioned by India that we don't want any escalation, and that's the reason why we are not targeting any civilian infrastructure or the military infrastructure for that matter. Then you tried our, the air defense systems, and we destroyed your air defense systems. Now you are trying our civilian population and in fact the military infrastructure. Now what is going to be the response? This is something that will be decided, in this meeting.
Okay, we're also getting news that Indian infantry and artillery attacks on Sialkot, Bajwat sector, Pakistan, there seems to be Indian action also taking place on Pakistani soil. General Pandey, how do you assess this? What's going on here?
So I think one is an artillery duel which will be happening is to destroy those places from where these attacks are being brought out, those gun areas and all. But in case the infantry is moving out, possibly to those locations from where we must have identified a suitable whatever is coming from that location, we need to neutralize that. I think that is for what the infantry must be moving out for limited action, possibly as of now.
Okay.
One can't actually fully comment upon it without knowing the entire picture, but this will be my assessment that there is a certain degree of physical maneuver which is not taking place.
Okay, inputs coming in on this from Manoj Gupta. We're also being told that a large number of Pakistani handles, viewers, now spreading disinformation after deniability in terror attacks by Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish. Now Pakistan is creating deniability in drone and missile attacks also. Akash, they are denying that there are any attacks taking place on Indian soil. They are saying that all of these are staged by India, that these are false flag operations to do Indian drama, and that Indian forces are attacking Punjab and Kashmir, and all of this. All this fake news is being peddled now by the Pakistanis to try and build in operational deniability. Akash.
India is different in that way. You see, Rahul, because we are not Pakistan, we have got enough of capability to try and test our weapons, at places like Pokhran, and that's the reason why we cannot do that. And today, at this point in time, when we are reporting these drone attacks, so there is a clear indication that after getting frustrated from what happened, in the morning today, Pakistan is in fact, trying these tactics. In fact, drones and artillery was something that was in fact fired towards the the civilian population and also the military infrastructure. Now we are learning that India is in fact taking action, and Manoj Gupta, our investigation editor, is reporting that how Indian infantry and artillery attack is there on Sialkot, and Pakistani army is responding to that particular attack. As of now, big update from the investigation editor Manoj Gupta that how Indian army is now in fact in action, and the infantry and the artillery is very much involved in this sort of attack on Pakistan.
Well, viewers, this is now obviously moving towards an escalation in the direction of a full-blown conflict. Professor Brahma Chileni also joins us. How do you see this now, where we are at what notch are we on the escalation ladder? Are we close on the brink of war, brink of an all-out conflict? What's going on?
Well, Operation Sindoor represents a paradigm shift in India's strategic posture toward Pakistan. Now, as you know, that for decades India allowed Pakistan to escape, at best with a slap on its wrist, for orchestrating cross-border terrorist attacks. So, against that background, Operation Sindoor represents a dramatic shift, and it was expected that Operation Sindoor, involving military operations, would invite strong Pakistani reprisals. But that doesn't mean that Pakistan is ready for a full-fledged war. India might be ready for a full-fledged war, but Pakistan least wants to get dragged into a full-fledged war. In fact, it doesn't have the capacity, economic and military, to sustain even this kind of conflict with India for too long. So the advantage is with India.
So why are they escalating then? Why are they constantly escalating in this illegal manner, which is disproportionate to even what India did, for example?
That is the way they always respond. We shouldn't forget how they responded to a single airstrike at Blackout. They responded in a dramatic manner by sending a wave of warplanes into India's J&K, bombing an Indian military base, dropping bombs elsewhere. That was a very dramatic escalation by Pakistan. Unfortunately, we did not respond to that response of Pakistan. We allowed them to get away with that kind of response. And that's the reason why, partly, we are where we are today. But that's also the reason why Operation Sindoor, when it was planned, factored in all the scenarios involving Pakistani reprisals. And what Pakistan is doing this evening was clearly factored in, and that's the reason why we are seeing certain steps being taken, including declaring blackouts, preparing civilian populations, and mounting prompt counteractions against Pakistan. And I think that this will go on. In fact, we should expect Operation Sindoor to be taken to its logical conclusion. If it's not taken to its logical conclusion, then it will not be a success. We will not be able to end Pakistan's cross-border terrorism. Let's be clear, India will have to bear some costs. Will have to bear some casualties too. There's no way India can actually end Pakistan's cross-border terrorism without taking risks. That is a given. And I think that we shouldn't look at this as an opening to a full-fledged war. No, I don't think this is an opening to a full-fledged war, but certainly it's a clearer opening to a more aggressive, proactive Indian posture.
Okay, let me get in Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Group Captain, how are we assessing the Indian response? Obviously, the air defense systems are kicking in. Give us a quick overview, really, of the Indian response so far and the Pakistani provocation.
Absolutely. In fact, for the sake of viewers and us, it is important for us to understand the shape of things to come A and what is happening B. In our case, we went and attacked a viable terrorist target. Pakistan did not have, the often used word off-ramp to do some action in India and say that is it. They did not have a swift retort kind of action this time, because this time it was surgical strike, airstrike, and all combined together. So that time also, I think we were in the morning talking about it, and we said in hours to come probably we'll be discussing about war, and that is what has happened. Because once they are confused what to do, they will do exactly what they are doing right now. That's point number one. But Rahul, what is more important for us to understand is, if you don't call this a war, what will you call a war? So to me, this is nothing less than any war would be, because they have been all.
It's undeclared, but effectively it's a war.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, weeks, months down the road, once we finish all this and when we discuss, we will, term it as a war. So right now, let's call the spade a spade and say it is a war, because they are hitting military targets. Unlike us, we did not hit the military targets. If we wanted to, we could have gone whole hog and finished off entire frontline fighter squadrons of theirs and fighter bases of theirs and called it a day. We did not do that. We did exactly what the Sindoor signifies.
Okay.
We took out only those people.
Well, movement at 7 LKM. I'm just going to point out these visuals, viewers. This is 7 LKM. This is the Prime Minister's residence in Delhi. There's a lot of movement there, a lot of cars going in and out. You can see that's the exit. It exits onto the Lok Kalyan Marg. And there you go, viewers. That's cars going in and out. We've been told that the RM is also meeting the 3 service chiefs and the CDS. So there's a lot of confabulation going on in, of course, the decision-making circles, which is not unsurprising, given the fact that we have a system that we are grappling with, which is short of actually a declared war. That's what Group Captain is saying. Group Captain, obviously Indian forces are responding. We're also being told now that we're responding in the same manner. So what would that entail? And I want to bring in General Pandey on that also. So Group Captain, go first. When they say we are responding in the same manner, describe a response in the same manner.
The response is, the DGISPR or that whoever the army person is who came up and said we've lost to the JF-17s, and they've sort of confessed.
Well, I think that that might be fake news. I'm not going to believe anything that comes out of Pakistan, to be very honest. I mean, the Pakistanis have perfected the art of even deceiving themselves. So God knows what they're trying to do here. But till the Indian government doesn't confirm this, let's just keep it out of the equation.
I know, but they also said Dusra Banda, who, I don't know who that Dusra Banda is. So yeah, but absolutely, I'm with you, Rahul, on this. See, people need to understand the counter or the DIAD operations, the destruction of enemy air defense operations that we are carrying out is again a defensive operation. The destruction of enemy air defense is a part of something called a counter air operations, in which we again are going to blind them and immobilize them so that they do not attack us. Our aim is not to go and do some destructions that they are at least trying to do, and which we can see on the screen in Jammu. Like my wife is currently caught in the crossfire right in Jammu.
Okay.
In the thick of, I was just speaking to her in the thick of all this attack that is happening. She was standing outside and laughing at the way these guys are trying to, tickle us by sending those small drones, which we are taking out using guns. I can safely say not major damage that we are looking at least in Jammu. Rest of the areas I do not know. This is straight from the horse's mouth. But important for us to understand that the operation that we are carrying out is A, measured, B, is towards the purpose of keeping our frontal areas safe, including Poonch, Rajouri and that sector. But I'm also hearing something is happening in the Jaisalmer and Badmer area as well. If that happens, then it is, Rahul, believe you me, General will bear me out, it is all hell break loose. There is so much of ground we can cover right down to the banks of Sindh.
There is Jammu, Jaisalmer, Pathankot, Akhnur, all of these areas. The border is hot. The border.
Absolutely, and so much of area we can grab that tomorrow in doing quid pro quo, probably they may have to hand us over right up to Islamabad. I don't know.
You think will happen, General Pandey?
Yeah, I think when you say the equitable response is on, something was already done in the morning, which we were able to deliberately hit, cross on the side, and the gap of 80, as Augustine has just brought out. Augustine, I hope your family is right and doing well, and so is everybody else. But the fact is that I think we are going to up the ante and hit across here and after similar targets, if not more, right? So while RT duels are going on, that is par for the course. But more importantly, I think much more will happen.
NSA Doval is briefing the Prime Minister. We're going to try and get you an update on that with a reporter. This is the second meeting in the day between the NSA and the Prime Minister. The one earlier in the day, viewers, took place at around 11 o'clock or maybe even 10:45, and it went on till about 11:30, 11:45. It was a 1-hour meeting. And now we know why that was a 1-hour meeting, because at that time we didn't know that Pakistan had overnight tried to attack us in 15 different places all along the LOC and the IB, all the way down to Bhuj in Gujarat. So now, of course, we have another meeting. Obviously, the NSA briefing the Prime Minister on the latest misadventures by Pakistan. This one, of course, might be a one that they live to regret. Professor Chelani, do you think the Pakistanis this time have made an error of judgment, maybe even a catastrophic one?
That time will tell. It will depend very much on the political will that either side musters. This is a test of political wills. Pakistan traditionally has sought to make up for the power asymmetry with India through stronger political will. On our side, political will has been lacking often. So today we are at a critical point. The outcome of the current confrontation will be determined not by military combat, it will be determined by who wins the battle of political wills.
Okay, who wins the battle of political wills? This is very, very serious, viewers. Serious situation now unfolding, General Pandey. And I want to just bring in Akash and the other reporters. Is Ishan Wani still there? Okay, Ishan, coming out to you. Pakistani media is also putting out these reports that India is cooking up stories, etc., etc. Can you just give us a situation report, really, of what's happening behind you? Quite clearly, Jammu, areas attendantly close to Jammu, Srinagar, all on high alert because there is some activity, isn't it?
Well, yes, it has been foiled. As you see that in Jammu, that multiple attempts were made to target defense establishments, to target other key locations, but all of them have been completely, completely stopped, and none of them has been allowed to happen. Even in Srinagar, it's completely dark. It's blackout right now, and as we speak, there are sirens being heard by certain residents in certain areas. But we have been also told that even in Kupwara, which is again a frontier district, there also sirens have been heard, apart from the artillery shelling which is going on across the line of control in Kashmir Valley at the moment. What we have been also given to understand that all the sensitive locations right now across Kashmir are on the highest readiness and alert, and to ensure that no drone is able to go through the defenses, the highest level of preparedness has been done. Be it the Srinagar airport, be the other key locations which we don't want to reveal right now given the sensitivity of the operations. But yes, the defense system is there prepared to deal with any sort of eventuality. There are imposed a possibility of drones coming towards Srinagar and attempting to hit actually certain parts and certain establishments, but the air defense system has been kept robust and they will not be allowed to hit any of these locations. Yes, it's true that there are drones which have tried to attack locations in Jammu, come from Pakistan. It's a very clear. Defense sources also saying that they tried to sneak in, but they were actually well aware about the possibility of this taking place, and that's why you're seeing that all of these videos where you see flares up, those are the systems trying to ensure that they're able to foil them before they target anyone or before they try to hit any location. It's completely dark. The traffic is very minimal. People are checking what's really happening, if there has been any attack. But let us us also tell viewers that let's not listen to rumors. There are a lot of rumors floating around right now. Only listen to authentic news. There has been appeal made by the government multiple times that don't rely on WhatsApp forwards, don't rely on anything like this. There are advisories, follow them at the moment. It's the electricity across several important districts has been cut. It's completely dark in Srinagar, and in Jammu there is a befitting response that the Indian Army is giving.
Okay, very quickly, stay on with me, Akash. Let me bring you into this. What's the latest from the ground? Any reports of any damage, or is all the damage being inflicted by Indian S-4 air defense systems?
Right, there is no report of any damage till now, Anand. In fact, Rahul, I'm sorry. And in fact, tactical air defense, is with Indian Army. We all know that how Indian Army, the AAD, Corps is very much responsible for the tactical, defense. And they have got Akash too, that is very much employed. So we are learning that till now there is no damage. And in fact, Indian Army has already started retaliation. There are, inputs coming from the Western Front as well. We are waiting for the confirmation, but there are inputs that Indian Army is retaliating and retaliating in the same manner. There is an input that in Jalandhar also there was, in fact, Jalandhar station was attempted, but it has been thwarted, and in fact, other places as well, several other places in Punjab too. There are attempts, but air defense system is very much there. Akash is there, MRSMs are there, and also we have S400 that you are talking about.
Well, the DC of Jalandhar has come out and said, dear all, and he's addressing the public at large. He says, you're aware of what's going on, but this is the exact situation that we have practiced for in the last 3 days. Our armed forces is taking care of most of things, and they have neutralized most of the drones. We all should support them and help in adhering to the protocol of blackout, as well as prevention of fake news, videos, messages that can spread panic among common people. Civilian population is not being targeted as per official information, so please don't worry and be calm. General Sir, your quick input on what you're hearing, and I'll open this up to the group captain also. Yes.
So like the perception continues to remain that they are trying to hit the military targets and try to maintain a certain degree of control on the escalatory ladder, which may not be very, very correct, because in Poonch yesterday they have actually killed more than 15 civilians, and they carried out hitting the civilian targets. So very willy-nilly, it's not exactly the same that they are trying to restrict the escalation to only military installations. And I think this level of attack which they have expanded now in the night is quite higher than what was in the previous level. Is it signaling that okay, we want to leave at this high, or is it a lure and draw? But I will go with what Brahma
What do you mean by lure and draw?
Yeah, is possibly they are wanting us to bait out and come for this thing, because this whole thing has started with Pahalgam itself, of a baiting out system in which we have not baited out. We have tried to hit only those select target and started with non-escalatory manner from the first day onwards. But they are clearly baiting us out, because that is the requirement of this present gentleman, Asim, not gentleman, I think
he's a rogue.
A radical rogue, Asim Munir. That is his requirement to survive.
Yes.
And the moment this whole thing opens up, which he knows will lead to destruction, but that will allow his legacy to continue. And I think that is where we are going, and the flurry of activity which is reported on our side is also indication of possibly something more of a red line being crossed.
More than a red line being crossed. Group captain.
I think a couple of things. I'm just picking up from what General talked about. See, in our scheme of things, we have always said that we want to stop it. And the onus, the ball was always in Pakistan's court. It was never in our court.
Yes.
Even today, Rahul, it is not in our court. It is still in Pakistan's court. But the problem is, A, decision dilemma. B, who's taking the decision in the higher echelons of Pakistan itself is in a very big question. We showed visuals where cars going in and out of the Prime Minister's residence, and we know for sure that in our case, it is the polity which takes the decision. In their case, polity is held by the nose by the Fauj, and Fauj takes the decision, and Fauj, believe you me, especially the Pakistan Fauj, is always trigger happy kind of Fauj. Secondly, the decision taken at the top
Yeah.
Not necessarily, and we have seen it in the past, Rahul, not necessarily adhered to by their core commanders and their commanders down below. So it is possible that the core commanders have taken, in the case of Pakistan, a unilateral decision to do what they want to do, especially as I see across the Jammu sector as well as in the Rajasthan sector. So there are a lot of one-upmanship. Who will succeed Munir? Those are a lot of such kind of chaos that exists in Pakistani force. I would give about 30 to 40% of that reason also for this escalatory ladder to be breached.
Well, the Integrated Defence Staff has issued a statement, General Saab, saying that there is a synergized retaliation. What does this mean?
So the thing which is happening is that while army is using the systems which are available to it in terms of drones, the loitering munitions, the other assets which are available to them, not only to attack but also the AD system which are deployed, carry out hitting of along the Karachi side, whatever they have to hit. So this is a synergized application based on this entire spread.
The one thing, viewers, there is a blackout. Yes, there is a blackout very, very, very obviously in a large number of cities along the LOC and the IB. But there is also a metaphorical blackout. We don't know how India is responding on the other side. We believe that there is a beginning of some sort of retaliation in full force. But we don't know. But what we are being told is that the threats have been neutralized by the army as per the SOP, that India has thwarted the attacks on military station Pathankot and Udhampur and just about anywhere else. It's a synergized retaliation that has thwarted any military overtures from Pakistan, and we just heard the general break that down for us. SSP of the Union Territory of Chandigarh has said that Chandigarh will be observing a blackout until further orders. All are requested to switch off all lights and stay indoors. Why do we need to switch off our lights? In case people still don't understand the reason behind it. There are some people who say that, oh, you don't need to today because these are computers that guide missiles. They're already pre-fed with information. It's it obviates all of that. So can you explain, please?
So the pre-fed systems are extremely expensive, are required to be hitting targets which are equally expensive, and they are required to be put down. But there are a larger number, more than 90% equipment or the munitions in the arsenal which don't require those systems. They are dumb systems. The second is when you are operating a drone system in which it is a man-controlled system, man behind, and doesn't have a certain degree of guidance system which is available. It has to look for the targets, so you don't make it easier for them.
Big statement coming out. First of all, viewers, another fact check. Inputs with respects to suicide attack by terrorists at Pathankot or Rajouri is completely false. So the Indian government putting that out for all of us. Clearly there is been news somewhere about this, so that's being put aside. Also, viewers, Dr. Jaishankar coming out and saying that India has been measured in its actions, however any escalation will get a firm response. So Brahma Chileni, India has been measured in its actions, however any escalation will get a firm response. This is an escalation. Do you believe that we should no longer harbor illusions, try to sound holier than thou? We should now respond at a higher level. Is that what is required now to once again nudge Pakistan into deterring?
Well, India is still playing to the international gallery. It should now be focusing on delivering hard blows to Pakistan. India, as the stronger military power, can control the escalation ladder. It can escalate the conflict, or it can de-escalate the conflict to its advantage. So, given that reality, India should be a bit more proactive, because if they inflict, let's say, X amount of destruction on India, India should be willing to inflict twice that on Pakistan in order to deter further attacks from Pakistan. So this kind of measured response at this stage would only embolden the Pakistani military generals to to keep upping the ante. They have to be dealt firmly, and I think equal response at this stage is not the pragmatic way to end this ongoing conflict.
Okay. This is now a conflict. Watch the words that people are using now, viewers. It's a conflict. Many people are now calling it maybe undeclared, but this is what a conflict looks like. Harbor no illusions. Wing Commander. Harbor no illusions, this is a conflict.
You asking me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So, see, there are two things that we need to understand. First, when our civilians were hit, I mean, in Poonch, it was a war for me, and number of people who died almost equaled the Pahalgam attack, or maybe slightly short. It was a war for me then, because when you hit the civilian population who are unarmed, it's a war, or at least a war-like scenario. Now you've gone all out and hit all across my border, right from north
Yes.
to the western zone. How do I look at it? That's
Okay.
point number one. Point number two, and right, like General said,
Yes.
the aspect about keeping ourselves safe. It's very, very important that, I mean, through the channel, I say this to
Yeah.
all the people of India.
Okay,
Be
I
very,
need to,
very careful.
I need to very quickly. There's some news breaking. Just going straight across to Anshul, who is reporting from Jalandhar. Anshul, yes. Anshul.
So yes, just a few moments ago, it was reported from out here in Jalandhar that there were projectiles that were fired towards Jalandhar, especially at the NIT Jalandhar is what we are being told, and all these attempts were actually thwarted by the air defense system of the country. But I'll just try and show you visuals around here as to how this entire area has been turned into an absolute blackout. Until 4 a.m. this morning, the notification has come from the local district administration that till 4 a.m. At least till 4 a.m. there will be a complete blackout that will be observed all across this district of Jalandhar and in the nearby districts as well. Much like districts like Pakwara is also seeing similar lines as well. Not only this, but also these highways that are leading towards Pathankot. In all those highways as well, there is absolute blackout that has been maintained. All the street lights have been switched off. The vehicles that are moving from here, they are also being checked and frisked over here. So definitely the Indian forces are definitely on their toes, making sure that each and every cowardly attempt that is being made by the rogue nation of Pakistan, that can be thwarted over here. And a clear message is being given out to Pakistan that because of these cheap missiles that are being thrown towards towards India, towards our country, these missiles are not enough to harm anyone, let alone demoralize even a single person of this entire nation.
Okay, well, those are heartening words, very heartening words. India is holding ground, viewers. Let me quickly give you an overview. 10:30 in the evening, about 2 hours ago, we received reports of loud bangs and explosions taking place in Jammu. But we're being now told, viewers, and this was going to happen, India has hit Lahore. Big story. India has hit Lahore. We're going to try and get you more inputs on this. India hits Lahore. This is big. Remember, India had already decimated the air defense system and capacities in Lahore. This was waiting to happen, wasn't it, General Pandey? I'm going to come to you, and could you hold forth on this a little bit? This is a big news. This is a big news, isn't it?
You know, it's a very, very important step. We are just discussing about it, and the statements have also come about on this, on a response which we measured response. So while everybody may be wanting a response which is desired by the emotions, but I think the line which the previous speaker just said, your reporter on the ground said, that a rogue nation, right? There is a difference between a rogue nation and a responsible nation, and we are escalating our response based on a responsible manner, and this is the next level that our drones are now hitting Lahore, and I'm sure majority of other areas will be hit. We will come to know as the operations unfold, and I'm sure we'll wait for those input for us.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask you, because if Akash joining us on this big turn of events after blunting air defense, India has hit Lahore. Akash, quickly give us the update on this. What does this mean? India hits the heart of Pakistan, the Pakistan's most important city, really, the citadel of power of the Punjabi elite that runs Pakistan has been hit. Brahma Chileni also here with us. But yes, Akash, give us the update.
Lahore and Islamabad are the two locations that we are learning, but once again, I would reiterate that we are not revealing any operational detail because of the fact that it is still on. And also, as far as the Lahore thing is concerned, so we have seen in the morning today that how the air defense systems in Lahore, within Lahore, were destroyed by the Indian Air Force. And once again, we are learning that since in the evening today, we have received these sort of drones and projectiles from Pakistan. So in the similar language, Indian armed forces are now retaliating, Rahul, and Lahore and Islamabad are two locations that we are learning initially.
This was on the cards, wasn't it? You reported, and I was with you on air at that time, you reported that significant damage, and in fact the Indian Army confirmed it, putting out a statement, significant damage had been done to the air defense system. And we've got pictures obviously from the past, from the afternoon. We can pull out those pictures and put it on the screen. This is earlier. So Akash, this was waiting to happen. The air defense systems there were completely taken out, weren't they?
Yes, in fact, Rahul, as far as Indian Air Force is concerned, so we know that how in the morning today, they not only thwarted the, attempts, but also, in fact, destroyed, in fact, the air defense systems of Pakistan. We know that how there are Chinese systems that are in place, very much deployed. But once again, the attack came towards us.
Okay,
fact,
more
in
information.
Jammu,
Akash is reporting. Akash, India also hitting Islamabad too. This is very, very big. So we are beginning to put out a lot of news. Islamabad, the political heart of Pakistan, also hit. Both Lahore and Islamabad, both hit. Yes. Elaborate, please.
Exactly.
Akash.
And, Rahul, I was stressing on the similar, language and the retaliation, and this is what we are learning, that Indian Army as of now, is retaliating in the similar manner. There is a clarification, no tank movement is happening, as there is a buzz about it on social media specifically, no tank movement, but yes, artillery is being fired, and in fact, we are learning that several locations are being targeted now in Pakistan as well. There are some sort of details that we of course cannot reveal, but yes, there are several locations for which we have got confirmation just a while back, and in fact, Indian Army at this point in time, and also the Indian Air Force, that is constantly thwarting all those, in fact, attempts that are, there to target the military establishment in Jalandhar, in other parts of Punjab, in Jammu. We have seen in Rajouri and Punch. We know that how ceasefire violation is happening. At the LCA, different areas, we already know that how ceasefire violations, are happening. But Indian Army as of now is retaliating, and we are learning about several locations in Punjab that are being hit by the artillery.
Okay, so this is important, General Pandey.
Yeah.
Symbolically, this is very important.
Symbolically, is very important because Lahore is the heart and soul of, while Islamabad is the political capital, you get Rawalpindi as a military capital which controls the entire country, but Lahore is the most important feature, is the most important population center in entire Punjab, and hitting in Punjab, all these locations, is very, very symbolic.
It is the seat of actually...
All three seats are there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. This is also the seat of Shehbaz Sharif. The Sharif family's influence originates from the heart of Punjab. Brahma Chileni, put this into perspective. If this is true, this is very, very big. We have no reasons to doubt it. We wouldn't be putting this news out. Islamabad and Lahore, the significance of this, please.
Well, first, it shows that India is not responding in similar measure. It's responding proactively and punitively. That is the way India can deter Pakistan. But more importantly, even though there are these artillery duels being reported, this has essentially become an air war where India has the upper, the edge, because India's air power is superior to Pakistan's. Of course, India has to factor in Pakistan's support from China. China, as you know, calls Pakistan its iron brother, and in recent days, after the Pahalgam massacre, China rushed new weapon systems to Pakistan, including air-to-air systems.
Yes.
In fact, the only important country to criticize the launch of Operation Sindoor was China. China condemned the Indian strikes as regrettable.
Yeah.
So today, as India mounts this offensive against Pakistan, it cannot lower its guard along the Indo-Tibetan frontier. So India actually is wedged between two nuclear-armed states. Both are revisionist powers.
Okay, well, you know, of course, that's a whole different ball game, and the level of escalation, of course, then is dramatically higher. But as of now, what I wanted to understand really from you was the symbolic importance of taking the fight into the Pakistani administrative capital and the cultural capital of Punjab, the beating heart of Pakistan. It is, viewers, let me tell you, symbolically the most important step, because Lahore notionally is the seat of the Pakistani elite, the Punjabi elite that controls all of Pakistan. Its writ runs across not just parliament, all organs of the state, including the courts, the military, and of course in Islamabad you have the seat of governance. So this is very big, isn't it, Brahmachareni? From an escalation point of view, you're right to say this is dramatic escalation by India. What do you think is going to be the response, General Pandey? I mean, a capital city. Now, if you want to go, will Pakistan go and ramp it up? Will they come deeper in? What's going to happen?
So, you know, we are handing options for the Pakistani system establishment to think over what they are going to do.
Okay.
There's a very copybook, very, I think this I have never seen or heard in any of the wars which has or conflicts which have come about, where the escalated ladder is under control, right? And you just see the nuanced difference between each and every strike which is happening. Compliments to the leadership which is coordinating all this, that you first get hit in Pahalgam, you respond to a terrorist, this thing, you tell the world, we are responsible, check the rogue guy.
And we're giving him plenty of time.
Plenty of time. He comes back with something, we go back again a little level up, that yes, we don't want this to happen. You try to hit our military system, and I think the previous speaker said very clearly, once you cross the IB and LC and try and hit across, even if we have brought down your systems, that is still an act of aggression. And therefore you go back and tell them that you can breach and hit.
So what is the thinking right now? Let me bring in Professor Chileni. What is the thought right now that's running through the Pakistani administration in Islamabad? That's the seat of power. It's been attacked. Now you have Lahore, the cultural capital really of Punjab province, the one that has the writ over all of Pakistan. Just put these things together and tell our viewers what it means. What do you think is going to be the response? Will it really scar the psyche now of the people of Pakistan?
I think you have answered your own question, Rahul, very well, because this is quite a psychological blow to the Pakistani elites, especially the military elites, and their puppet civilian government today, led by Shehbaz Sharif. It's important to know that in striking Lahore, India had an opening. After taking out the air defense system in Lahore, the field was open for India to launch strikes on Lahore. On Islamabad, we do not know whether India actually neutralized the air defense system protecting Islamabad. But we also don't know what India has hit in Lahore and Islamabad. Has India hit only military installations, facilities, or India has actually hit symbols of Pakistani state power? If military installations alone have been targeted, of course this will greatly rattle the already nervous Pakistani military generals who did not expect such a robust Indian response. They clearly miscalculated. They miscalculated because they thought that India would chicken out the way India chickened out after the Balakot airstrike led to a dramatic Pakistani response. This time they're getting back in kind. And getting back in kind, not just in kind, they're getting back in such a punitive way that now they must be realizing that they took on they took on a fight that they cannot really fight for too long.
Yes, General Saab. Yeah.
Yeah, Rahul, just understand one thing. There are only 4 important cities for them.
Okay.
Karachi, Islamabad, Rawalpindi and Lahore. There is nothing else. It's a slice of land. There is no strategic depth, we discussed in the afternoon. And with the breach in the AD system, one thing is proved to the elite, the military leadership, the population, that we will hit you wherever we want to. I'm sure there is a huddle which is going on and a competition which is happening or discussion which is happening by the Asim Munir led rogue elements and also some other elements, that who will stall where are you leading. I'm sure they must be reaching out like Nawaz Sharif did, daring, while it's too early to say, right? But there is a time where they will have to start looking at which point they need to pull back, because it is clear signal to them that we are going to keep on escalating till the time your behavior doesn't change. Their behavior is not going to change. The strategic orientation will not change for not using terrorism as a state tool, as a state policy to use terror as a tool.
That will not change. Exactly.
But the fact is that the current system, current escalation ladder,
yes,
they will have to start.
Don't take the next step. He thought India ain't going to take this too far. And now we've reached Islamabad, Lahore. Of course, albeit we don't know, maybe it was just an attack, maybe it's all been thwarted, but clearly the same sort of tension that has been ringing out in Indian cities where your wife is, for example, in Jammu, is now gripping Islamabad and Lahore, and that says a lot.
So, Rahul,
yes,
give me a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a minute to explain the offensive part,
yes,
that we're doing.
Yes.
For the sake of viewers and for the sake of us who are sitting and discussing this.
Yeah.
See, there is an aspect in air war called selection and maintenance of aim. In our case, it was very, very clear that we selected an aim which was Lahore. We maintained that aim, and we did it exactly as per the copybook style. We first took out the AD radars, we softened up the area there. Now it is just, Rahul, mark my words, it is just a matter of time. We will probably be sitting on the outskirts of Lahore. I have absolutely no doubt on my mind, and like I said, it is with a purpose. It is something called effects-based operation, EBO we call it. You can fire all across the LC in all the bases like a headless chicken. We do not do that. We do operations based on a certain aim. We maintain that aim and we work towards that aim. And to me, it is very, very clear as of now that aim is Lahore. And once Lahore and piece of that particular portion of land is with us, it could be outskirts or the entire Lahore. Let me tell you, he will be on his knees. And probably it will be another General Niazi for him signing, peace accord with us.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Of course, that is probably the aim, and that should be the aim, and India is going to not leave anything unturned this time. Remember, viewers, in the run-up to this, and General Sivach is here and he'll bear me out on this. General Sivach, in the run-up to this, India has been saying that one day POK will be got back. We will get back POK. Now, this is what has been said. Now, look, viewers, early days, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but General Sivach, it's important to take note that a very symbolic shift has taken place tonight. Yes, the Pakistanis have tested unprovoked our patience once again. They've refused to take the off-ramp, but now we have said, okay, you want to play this game? We will come straight into your hearts. One is the cultural capital of Pakistan, the Punjabi heart, the bastion of the Sharif family, of most of the Punjabi elite of the army, the judges, just about anyone who's anyone in Pakistan comes either from Karachi or they come from Lahore. Let's be honest about that. And now we've also tickled in some way Islamabad, which is the heart of their administrative setup. So these are big signals from India. Very big.
Absolutely. See, Rahul, 2-3 issues. First of all, we must understand that the air defense system of both countries are very different. Now we have proved beyond doubt the S-400 is impregnable, and it is not only a single layer, there are 4 tier. There are PAD, then the AAD, and then you have basically Akash and then S-400. So it is very difficult for Pakistani drones or missiles to penetrate through our air defense system. But other way around, it is that Pakistan is vulnerable because their H9 air defense system which they have received from China is proved to be totally unsuccessful, and we have managed to neutralize the air defense system of Lahore. So this is the biggest difference which is happening between the two countries. In case they follow this, that the drone versus drones, missile versus missile, we will still able to maintain and manage that these will be intercepted by our air defense system. What about Pakistan? So they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable in Lahore. Their air defense system neutralized. They are vulnerable in Islamabad. And I suppose our next target is Rawalpindi, the general headquarters, because that is the place where GHQ is there. And also, these 3-4 power seats which are Lahore, Islamabad and Rawalpindi, you start hitting them.
MOD putting out a statement. I need to just quickly update our viewers. So 9 minutes to 11 o'clock in the evening, MOD puts out a statement, says military stations at Jammu, Pathankot, Udhampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones and missiles along the IB in Jammu and Kashmir today. The threats were swiftly neutralized using kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities in line with established standard operating procedure. No casualties or material losses were reported. India remains fully prepared to defend its sovereignty and ensure the safety of its people. A big statement coming out of the MOD, sir. Yeah. How do you interpret this very quickly, sir?
So I think is one of the firstly is a very quick response. Generally, it takes time for MOD to come this thing. So therefore, I think the systems are quite live, and information is flowing back and forth very, very quickly. And in case they have been able to put out this very, very firmly, it shows that whatever operations the Pakistanis had tried to do for at least at this point of time had been neutralized quite well enough. And as it was said very clearly, that is a synergized effort to ensure that whatever targeting was being done has been put down. So all the Air Force missiles attacked have been taken away by the Air Force. Systems were in place, and other areas which were being targeted by drones and all have been taken out by the other elements. So I think it's a very great
integrated
effort. Yeah, it's a very good
okay, so we're also being told, viewers, that parallelly the Indian government has approached Twitter to block 8,000 accounts. So those are also going to be blocked because disinformation is a major weapon in the hands of somebody who wants to spread all sorts of rumors and disaffection in the public mind. So that is also being taken care of as we speak. So these are big moves, very big moves. Also, a letter being shared on social media claiming that the Chief of the Army Staff, General V.K. Narayan, has sent a confidential letter regarding military preparedness to the Army officer of the Northern Command, etc., is completely fake. There is no such thing that has happened. So, in fact, General Narayan is not even the COAS. So, yeah. So all of this is also happening in the backdrop, viewers. All of this, of course, tells us that we are now clearly moving into another phase. So this is Operation Sindoor 3.0, quite clearly. HM has also dialed DGPs of border states to take stock of the situation unfolding in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Gujarat, Rajasthan. Why is this call being made, sir? What does this mean?
This, I think basically to tell them about issues will be happening, to take stock of law and order aspect. There will be certain movement and people, there will be fear amongst the population which will want to move back to safer areas. Those kind of things have to be managed in case it happens. People start looking at for future that they want to move slightly behind. The third is that to actually synchronize this whole thing, because this thing is going to be a long term.
Let me just go across to Arunima, who's got more details on this. The HM making calls now. Arunima.
Yes, sir. So the international border is on fire, and therefore the BSF DG has been dialed by the Home Minister to understand from him as to what the situation is. Yes, our air defense system has worked very well, but BSF is on high alert, be it in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, or be it in Kutch area of Gujarat, or Amritsar in Punjab, or it is the Rajouri Poonch sector and all the way down to Jammu. The entire international border has been aflame for the last 2.5-3 hours now. So the civilian population, what is their status right now? There were instructions given to ensure that the civilians in forward areas be evacuated and taken to safe centers. So the Home Minister, we are told, has taken stock after speaking to BSF DG. He has also spoken to CISF DG because CISF is the force in charge of guarding our airports. In most areas, starting with Jammu, the air assets were the targets, and then we saw the air assets in Pathankot and in Udhampur and in Arnia. All across these areas, our air and defense assets were targeted. So since the air assets and the civilian airports in a lot of areas are in close proximity, so the Home Minister has also spoken to CISF about the steps that are being taken. Not just that, the DGPs of the border states, so Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, amongst others, their DGPs are constantly being spoken to by the Home Minister to try and figure out the situation in their respective areas and what more can be done as far as internal security is concerned.
Okay, Notam also has been issued, viewers, across a large number of airports. So Chandigarh, Srinagar, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Bhantar, Kishangarh, Patiala, Shimla, Kangra, Gaggal, Bhatinda, Jaisalmer, and these are pictures coming in from Uri right now. Uri was also the place where a large number of shelling was taking place on the first night, the CFV. Just talk us through this, General Saab. What's going on?
Yeah, so what you can hear is totally the rocket attacks, and this is what you can see. The visual is of firing of direct firing guns, and also a lot of artillery activity. This is very clearly you can make out this is a firing of direct small arms weapon, which is being fired in the line of control.
Okay, right. So this is a localized...
It's a localized effort, and the flashes which you can see is possibly of mortars, and at the very most it may be of artillery, but what I can make out from the now from the visual is about mortars only.
Okay, so about 24 Notam has been issued across about 24 airspaces, airports from Leh, Jammu, Mundra, Jamnagar, Hirasar, which is Rajkot, Porbandar, Keshod, Kandla, Bhuj. Bhuj, of course, was in the news. So these are pictures that are coming straight out of Uri, deferred live visuals, and you can see those mortars you are saying. These are
the flat ones which you are seeing is the flat trajectory weapons, which are direct firing weapons, maybe MMGs and HMGs which are firing. That is the sound which is coming off. These are burst fires.
Right.
But otherwise, the flashes which you are seeing are essentially of what do you call? These are rockets being fired.
Rockets being fired. Okay, and the flashes are
basically motors.
Motors exploding.
Motors as well, and these are the rockets and missiles which are exploding. They're all direct firing weapons which are happening.
Okay. Well, viewers, this is big news coming through. Big news coming through of a potential escalation in this entire effort. We're about 2 minutes to 11 o'clock. We can confirm that both Lahore and Islamabad have received a tap from the Indian military. So this is a big escalation. Forces are on high alert. The Indian forces counter Pakistan firing even at Uri in Jammu and Kashmir. Pictures are coming from Uri also. Jammu, Jaisalmer, Akhnur, Pathankot Air Base all have seen action this evening, but all of it has been thwarted. God's been kind. And of course, the military has been high alert, very professional, and has been able to stop everything that the Pakistanis have thrown at us. General Sivach, your quick assessment of the situation that's unfolding.
One thing is there, Rahul, the situation is fast developing. It was not anticipated that things will happen so very fast. No doubt about it, Pakistan is trying its all arsenal which is there with that. It is trying to now basically send number of drones. It start also doing firing, active firing both on the line of control as well on the international border. You see, line of control firing is not very uncommon. It used to be common once upon a time before 2021. And once I commanded a brigade in Machal, I remember that it used to be usual, but not in international border. But now international border has also become very, very active. No, that is one thing. And second thing is that the area completely starting from, you can say from J&K down up till Gujarat, you find the activity taking place everywhere. So therefore, you can't be taking any chance. There's a blackout everywhere. The drones have been seen coming not only in Punjab or J&K, they have been also seen possibly in Rajasthan and also in Gujarat. So it is on high alert. But at the same time, one has to tell to a countryman what we are responding is far more than what Pakistan can, because there is a difference in what they have and what we have. And I don't think they can sustain for too long, because after all, if you have got a drones or you have got a missile, they cannot be endless. There is a a quantum which is there available with you. But certainly one thing is there, we are more effective than them. Our air defense system is impregnable. This is a multi-layered. S-400 is one of the best in the world, whereas Pakistan H-9, which they have taken from Chinese, is proved to be totally ineffective. We have neutralized the air defense system in Lahore. We are hitting them in Islamabad, Lahore, and also possibly in Rawalpindi also. So Pakistan is getting more beating, and they will feel the heat. If they want to escalate it on an escalation matrix, so it be. We are prepared for the worst case scenario. But my point is, I don't think Pakistan will able to sustain for too long. That is the take. I don't think they have in their arsenal limitless ammunition, both of missile as well as drones. It has a limit, but certainly as on today, one has to be very careful. Things are fast developing, and that is where it has surprised everyone. The way situation is unfolding today, it looks like that we have to be on a high alert.
Well, viewers, obviously this is a fast developing situation. 11 o'clock, we can tell you a few things. If I were to just quickly bring you up to date with everything that has been happening since about 8:30 this evening. Viewers, the top headline right now is that we can tell you that Indian forces are targeting Lahore and Islamabad. There's been a lot of shelling, a lot of activity along the LOC in areas such as Rajouri, in areas such as Uri, in Pathankot, pretty much a large part of Jammu. Srinagar also, they are saying, has been affected, all the way down to Jaisalmer. We are being told that there has been activity. However, Pakistani projectiles, about 12 of them, and missiles have been shot down by the S-400 air defense system. We also know that there have been no casualties, at least on the Indian side, because everything, drones and every other thing that the Pakistanis have thrown at us have been neutralized. I can't confirm other big news related to losses that the Pakistanis might have suffered, because we cannot at this moment confirm all of that, but it's a lot of talk about the Pakistanis having taken a big hit. So big news that has been developing. General Saab, this constitutes now a different phase in this entire action, doesn't it?
Yeah, so this is, as you started this thing by saying that 2 days we have succeeded in what we wanted to achieve. And I think this one of the minor offenses, I'll say, which has come about, we have again been able to thwart this thing, and those news which you are discussing and we are talking about, if it comes true, it will be a very, very big, again a very major event which will happen. We'll see how it unfolds and how it comes out. But what is looking as of now is something akin to a Star Wars fight which is on, a fight which will be which will try and avoid boots on ground to cross line, and it will be from ceasefire violations to the duels, from small arms to artillery to missiles, and ranging up to drones and long range missiles, something which we have seen in other parts of the country happening, and it's likely to continue in the similar manner for some time to come, till the time that threshold is crossed in terms of a major hit which will take place, in which the boots on ground will move. And that will be, for me as a military professional, I am telling you, like everybody will say that the day Pahalgam happened, it was declaration of war, but for me the day the boots cross ground, that will be the time when a transition from a very low level conflict which is happening today will transform into a full-fledged war. And let's hope, if it happens, then it's bad news for Pakistan. Its demise is going to happen. If they are smart, they will avoid this situation to come about, and they will try and de-escalate as far as possible, because India has shown one thing, that from zero escalation we have got answers for each and every level of escalation which can be taken to the last end, right? So we
Okay.
are willing to escalate.
Yes, we are willing to escalate. This is big news. Akash, look, there are various reports that are now coming through, and there is, of course, an Airport Authority of India advisory that has been put out also for passengers travelling to come earlier to the airports, at least 3 hours in advance. But that's not really the reason why we're speaking to you, because we've got confirmation now, and we can break this news report that an F-16 has been downed. Amit Bhatt of News 18 Rajasthan has confirmed that an F-16 has been shot down. Now, very quickly, Akash, can you update us on this?
The report of F-16 is concerned, so I have no confirmation. But yes, you rightly pointed out, our colleague is confirming. I'm also learning about one individual, possibly the pilot, who has been apprehended and in fact, has been caught by the locals there. But Indian Air Force will go with the version of Indian Air Force, Rahul. Indian Air Force is just checking, the truth in the whole case, in the entire matter. Whether or not the F-16 has been downed, it will of course, be known to us in some time from now. But definitely that we have been asked to, hold for a while. Because as of now, Indian Army is retaliating. We know that how Indian Air Force, the air defense system is very much working, and they have been retaliating too. We know, and in fact, we are learning about several sort of developments that are happening at the line of control, where in Kupwara we are learning about specifically about the artillery fire and in fact the retaliation that is going on in the western, front as well in, Punjab and Rajasthan. We have been learning about several sort of attempts from drone, but all of these attempts have been in fact thwarted, and F-16 is something that is coming from western front only, western border only. So we are waiting for an official confirmation for F-16, not just the plane, the downing of the plane, but also the pilot, because we have been learning that one individual who is possibly the pilot of one F-16 of Pakistan, has been apprehended and has been caught by the, locals there.
Well, the MOD sources now seem to be confirming this, that F-16 downed by the Indian forces and that the pilot has been in fact apprehended. We're not going to tell you, viewers, where it is, because that's obviously sensitive. We don't want that pilot to be harmed in any way. Sometimes if we give away the destination or the location, Pakistan might want to try and neutralize and lose, and that will make us lose the advantage. So we're not going to give away the area, but General, what do you make of this? A significant change?
Yeah, so there's a one very major impact of this F-16 being downed. It puts the proof out to the Americans that there was a deal which was signed sometime back by the Pakistanis that will not be used against their Western adversary ever. So this one lie is going to be proven absolutely correct if it is true. And the second lie which was shown by your channel today, that the terrorists were being given state honors led by a US designated terrorist. So these two combined with the tomorrow this IMF conference being held for Pakistan case makes our case very strong to put them into a corner. I think that's very important to take note of. And also with the changing, with the tap on, tap off thing which you're talking of, how will they make tea for their own country? I think the tea movement possibly will come through for us. Not a very good thing to talk as a soldier about a fellow soldier, but I guess I very clearly remember that colonel who was a defense attaché or a lower rung officer in British embassy coming out and waving that photograph of Vinandan and making that very silly, extremist, radical mindset gesture, a very disgusting gesture, which reflects even the selection of one of the best guys to go to represent the country. If it is so damaging, it is a reflection of mindset and how radicalized the military structure of Pakistan Army is.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is a very defining moment in case F-16 has come out.
I mean, this takes the advantage away completely from Pakistan. So, because this becomes really a bargaining chip. It really still our hands. If you remember, when Abhinandan fell into Pakistani hands, basically we had to de-escalate completely the entire focus of the operation, the direction of the war. And I know that various, and Group Captain, you'll probably bear me out on this, that I know that fatalities, casualties, these kind of exigencies are built into game scenarios. So I'm sure the level that we are at, it would take a little bit more for this to really take or have a decisive impact on Pakistan's strategies, but still it will begin to weigh on the strategic the strategic ecosystem in Pakistan when they are thinking of the next step. Also, before you comment on that, just a very quick one, PIB fact check putting out the fact that a Fidaiin attack on an army brigade in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir is fake news. So viewers don't fall for that. Yes, Group Captain, go ahead.
I'll just take a leaf from what General said about the tea movement and the fellow soldier thing. And it will not be a tea, it will be an Akunuri Kawa. Very, very famous Kawa that we get over there.
Yeah.
And we will probably export it and give it to the boy and look after him very well and send him off if time of the time and the place of our choosing. And as you're putting out a lot of images and videos, and images and videos talk for themselves. Rahul, I know you're a measured anchor who don't want to get ahead of yourself, but I want to, call spade a spade. Maybe today or tomorrow, mark my words, we will be on the outskirts of Lahore. I absolutely have no doubt about it. Being, the planner for so many years in the Air Force, I know how this is panning out.
Okay,
we are going to be there. And that is my message to my fellow countrymen.
Yes.
Be at it. We are going to get them.
Of course.
They will.
Look, all of us secretly might desire that, but as a professional, I'm not going to sort of underwrite that.
I'm being professional, Rahul. I'm absolutely.
No, that's your assessment, and I respect your assessment, sir, and your desire to perhaps even point the Indian establishment in a particular direction. So there's nothing wrong in what you're saying. Anshul is from Jalandhar. Great to see you back, Mr. Serene. Great to see you back. The news has dramatically turned since you've been off air. One, we are being told that an F-16 pilot has been captured. We are being told that he's out of harm's way. I'm not going to say where exactly this capture has taken place for obvious reasons. We're also being told very, very clearly that India has been able to target both Lahore and Islamabad. So your thoughts on that before I bring in Anshul from Jalandhar and Ishan from Srinagar. Yes. Sushant Serene.
Rahul, before I answer your question, just a word to what General Pandey was saying. And, I just want to caution all Indian Armed Forces officers. We live in this illusion that the kind of chivalry that the Indian Armed Forces practice, it's a similar kind of thing on the Pakistani side. It is not. They are a bunch of animals. You might meet them during your courses, during your postings, and they might try and act friendly with you because half the time they are ill-equipped to deal with anybody other than from somebody from the subcontinent because they can't relate to them. Their wives are not equipped for it, variety of reasons. So they try and latch on to an Indian for some kind of support. So please, sir, my sincere advice, they are a bunch of retards and animals, and I think we should treat them like that. I don't expect any chivalry from them. Now on Rahul, on the other stuff which you asked, look, frankly speaking, we are right now in the fog of war. I think there is some confirmation coming in that a pilot has been arrested, apprehended. And now whether it is an F-16 or some other aircraft, I don't think any one of us is in a position to say what it is. But and the geography is also ranging from various places, so the various accounts coming from all over the place. But I suppose there would be some kernel of truth in the fact that somebody like this has been arrested. On the attacks on Lahore and Islamabad, I would wait for official confirmation or something much more solid before I was to say that whether we've actually launched those attacks or not. I would not be surprised if we have, because very clearly at various levels of the government, it has been made extremely clear that if the Pakistanis are going to up the ante, the Indians are not going to back down. We are going to retaliate, and depending on what the Pakistanis have tried to do, our reaction will be similarly, it will be calibrated accordingly, and probably much more than what they've anticipated. So I think we are in that phase right now. It's up to the Pakistanis if they want to back off. Now, what are we hearing from the Pakistani? And many of these touts of the Pakistan army, people who edit newspapers out there and also act as stringers for New York Times and others, who are saying, no, actually we have not launched any attack on India. In Jammu and Kashmir, it is a false flag attack. Now these damn duffers, low IQ fellows, for them everything is either a Ra conspiracy or a false flag attack. So I don't expect anything sensible or intelligent to come from these bloody Pakistani lowlifes. Okay, but these journalists are trying to spread, no, we have not done anything. Now every time their attack fails, they say we haven't done anything, because now they know something is coming their way. If their attack had been successful, these bloody Punjabi Muslims would have been, beating their chest with pride. Oh, look, we showed these fellows, right? They are the bunch of cowards who used to have slogans of crush India behind their cars, and when India started moving towards Lahore, all those cars were rushing away to Rawalpindi to save their backsides. So that is what these bloody Pakistanis are, these Punjabi Muslims, then their badak, which they always come up with. We will have some setbacks.
Okay,
right?
shots coming in from Jaisalmer. Look at these pictures. This audio. This is quite a.
To take out the. This is the response which is being to take out the drones which are coming.
Okay.
Or the missiles which are being launched.
Right.
You can see that. Incoming missiles,
incoming drones, or whatever the Pakistanis are throwing at us by the way of offensive capacities, and these are our air defense retaliation.
The ones which came from below are the ones retaliation.
I see.
And you can see they are taking them out. It's quite clearly a masked kind of an attack which is coming on to Jaisalmer. It's a very, very aptly explained.
Okay.
There you go.
Dramatic visuals of the Indian response, viewers, to what is the incoming from Pakistan, clearly. Sushant Sareen, yes, you were talking at length really about the Pakistani posture, but just for a moment indulge us. If it is true that a Pakistani pilot has been captured, doesn't that sort of dramatically shift this entire focus then of the response, the Pakistani strategy, etc.?
It will definitely, deal a big blow to their ego, especially when we have footage of giving them tea, because these lowlifes have been trying to insult an armed forces officer from the Indian side for 5 years by saying that, okay, fine, we've got tea ready. So my question is, I wish our tea is also ready, and it's original tea. It's not imported from Kenya or some other place, from some third country. It's our tea which we are going to shove down his bloody throat and take pictures with it and carry out that same thing which they've done. Because I don't believe in acting in a chivalrous way with barbarians. You should treat with them the same way they treat other people. So I am very clear in my mind that, jaise ko taisi. I don't believe that, we should rise above all that the wokes can do. I am afraid I'm not in that business anymore. But I think it certainly deals, and if it's an F-16, then of course it's a very serious blow to their ego, and it tells you a lot about the kind of air defense systems that are working. But Rahul, I think it's important that we also say to our people that look, if we are entering into this phase, there will be cases where these Pakistanis will launch certain missiles which will come into India, which might escape the air defense systems, and there will be damage and there will be loss in India. And we should, show that we are a bloody resolute nation, that we will not let any setback pull us down. Bloody hell, you send one missile out here, I'll send 10 and I'm going to beat the shit out of you, Bhagat.
Okay, well. Okay, let's very quickly.
Last 40 years, and I refuse to stand for it anymore.
Okay.
Enough is enough.
Okay. Okay, well, one second. There is a walkthrough from Jaisalmer. Very brave walkthrough by a journalist, Bhavani. Let's hear this.
आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से ये देखिए कि यहाँ जो जिस तरीके से नजर आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर ये जैसलमेर के आसमान में आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से शायद ये ड्रोन हो सकते हैं। आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से क्या ये जैसलमेर में आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से यहाँ पर लगता है शायद ड्रोन है, ये ड्रोन अटैक की कोशिश है, ऐसा लग रहा है, कहीं न कहीं लग रहा है। जिस तरीके से धमाके हो रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ये तस्वीरें अपने आप में न्यूज 18 इंडिया के कैमरे से देखिएगा आप किस तरीके से लगातार एक के बाद एक ये देखिए कि
ये जैसलमेर में शायद लगता है
लगातार
फायरिंग हो रही है।
देखिए कि
इधर
ये गन शॉट फायरिंग है। अब देखिए कि
reaction to these visuals.
So there are just two parts which have to be taken note of. One is this issue, which is the sound which is coming out. Essentially, the sound of the flying system which is coming across to hit will not be heard in that manner. But the people who get worried, and the question which you had asked me last time again, is the response which goes out. So there will be a loud noise when you're firing the system. The second noise will come when the system blows up in the air and destroys the coming munition or a drone or a missile system. The second is very clearly from the visual which you can see that the lights are lit up. My message through your channel to everybody is that the times are not very apt for people not to listen to the advisory which is coming from the government. In the night you need to take care, especially if you are around military bases, along places where airports are there, air force bases are there, military installations are there, for the purpose of your own good and also for the good of the military installations which are in a proximity. Is important to follow the instructions which are being given by the government by the local government and administration till the time this issue lasts. I just thought I'll give this message.
No, this is very important. But just quickly describe these pictures as captured by our reporter as well as the other picture that we just saw from Jaisalmer.
You just saw two things happening. You saw red lights which are flashing. They were possibly the swarm drones kind of thing which are coming for hitting the Air Force base which is in the proximity of Jaisalmer. And the response which you saw, which was emanating from the ground, was the anti-missile system, anti-drone system which were going up in the air and destroying through proximity fuses. And you saw very clearly, you can now see one of the response coming up in the air on the screen to take out what is an incoming munition to hit the targets.
Okay. Viewers, also of course, very quickly the MOD has put out a statement. As I said, military stations at Jammu, Pathankot, Udhampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones, and of course in Jaisalmer, another sector. Now, and General Sahab, where would the Pakistanis have been targeting Jaisalmer from?
Yeah.
Could you explain it to our, would it have to be from a sector opposite Jaisalmer on their side of the border, or could it be from somewhere else?
So they will be having drone systems and the munition systems which can be launched quite from the depth because Jaisalmer itself, if I am not wrong, is about 50 odd kilometers from the IB, and even if they are launching from about 50 kilometers inside, they will have they got systems which can reach out these distances and try and hit the Jaisalmer airport. The second option is that they could have these systems can also be launched by airplanes, fighter aircraft from the aircrafts which can be flying in the proximity of IB, well within their own sectors. But in case we are listening to this thing of F-16 having been down, that means they must have come slightly more closer to the international border, and therefore they have been downed. I must also tell you, the moment such a thing happens, the relevance of IB goes off, right? So it's a very tricky time for the Pakistanis when they have crossed and violated the IB like this.
A group captain. Yes, you wanted to make a point. Yeah.
Yeah, quickly. I've served in this area for a long time, Rahul. No rockets or artillery shells can reach Jaisalmer. Jaisalmer is quite deep inside. No, to me, it appears that it is an air-launched versions of some kind of weapon. Like you correctly said, aeroplanes have breached the border and come inside. Or day before, like we were sitting in the morning, all three of you, and I was mentioning about the aeroplane coming from Turkey. It could even be that Bayraktar kind of a drone which has that kind of range, 100, 200, 300 kilometers of range, and that can be launched from the Raimia Khan, that area, the north of Jaisalmer area. So these are the two vectors that can reach Jaisalmer. There is the surface-to-surface integrated vector reaching Jaisalmer is an impossibility. They do not possess that much in the number that we are seeing, firstly. Secondly, very important for the viewers to understand, these red lines that you're seeing going across the sky is your defense system. So if there is one target that is coming in, you will see thousands of them going towards that one target. It could well be just one drone that is coming in, and you're trying to take it out using the close-in weapon systems and other RACAC guns, which is placed all across the air bases. So don't get alarmed. That is my point. It could just be one rogue drone which we are trying to take out. Over to you.
Okay, we're hearing all sorts of news now, viewers, of the Indian retaliation across into Pakistan. There has been big news, and I'm not going to put it out there, but it could be that we've made some significant dents in the Pakistani scheme of things. And I want to bring in General Rajinder Singh on this. General, if you're there, if you could just put your mind to the events from 8:30 and the news that we have done a lot of damage. I'm not going to specify what kind of damage on the Pakistani side of the fence. I will confirm that an F-16 has been downed and the pilot is, however, in our custody. That much I can say, but there's a lot more that I'm not in a position to put on air, but I will tell you, viewers, that there has been considerable degradation on the other side of the border. General. I think you're on mute, sir. If you could just unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go. That's right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me properly?
Yes, I can. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ever since Pakistan made the mistake of trying to strike some of our military stations and Air Force stations, I think they were under the impression that we are going to keep quiet, which did not happen. Our forces were ready. They had already contingency plans which had been made, and they struck them very hard. Now, Pakistan still did not. It seems that they were still not satisfied, and they tried to strike us again tonight, early at night, and this was retaliated straight away by us. And I think it has been a fairly good thing what we have been able to do. What I have been able to understand or get is that we have struck in almost all places where the major formations are. That is like in Sialkot, in Bawalpur,